Greetings, beautiful people. Check this out. So I'm looking through an article, okay? And this is an article where, this is why I've said in my previous videos that there's no information hidden from you. Like, let's say if there was a devil or if there was evil, for this game to be fair, the information has to be out there for you. So you would have to go look for it. Everything is not hidden. See, everything's hidden in language. It's right in front of you. All you have to do is just decipher it and you'll know what the hell's going on. All right. Google, for example, if you ask the right questions, you will get answered accordingly. Okay. Now, I'm looking at an article here. Okay. I'll show you real quickly. Okay. NASA confirms superhuman abilities gained. Okay. Now, this is by Guardian, LibertyVoice.com, LV.com. I'm going to put the link in the description below. All right. And you can research this yourself. All right. But, you know, I'm going to read a couple of things out of this article so that we could talk about it real quick, because it has to do exactly with what I was talking about in the previous videos of mine. But check how it starts. Ever wanted to be in more than one place at a time? That's right. I'm talking about the superhuman abilities that can be gained by those who follow the protocol for what's known as sungazing, the valid practice recently confirmed by NASA. Many proponents of this ancient technique, used by many cultures such as the Mayan, Egyptian, Aztec, Tibetan, and Indian yoga, report not only healing benefits to common illnesses, but obtaining superhuman abilities such as advanced telepathy and going completely without the need for food. All right. Now, here's a misconception that a lot of people go by. Whenever they see like Egyptian and Tibetan and Indian yogic, what do you call it? And Aztec, whenever you see this ancient practice, you would see it like in ideologies and all that, but people confuse that and say they were sun worshippers. You see, the wrong thing to do here is think of the sun and worship the sun. This is not the way it works. See, the sun is a tool, and these people back in the day knew how to utilize this tool to their advantage. Okay. And this is knowledge that was again suppressed and hidden through time. Okay. So this is why, you know, we have to look at this from a different perspective, because people would say, oh, those people were sun worshippers. They were not sun worshippers. They were utilizing the sun as a tool to their advantage. Okay. Now check this out. What is sun gazing? Sun gazing, also known as the sun eating, is a strict practice of gradually introducing sunlight into your eyes at the lowest ultraviolet index times of the day, sunrise and sunset. Those who teach the practice say there are several rules to the practice. First, it must be done within the hours of sunrise, after sunrise, or before sunset to avoid damaging to the eyes. Second, you must be barefoot in contact with the actual earth, sand, dirt, or mud. And finally, you must begin with only 10 seconds the first day, increasing by 10-second intervals each day that you practice. Following these rules make the practice safe, sources say. Now, I don't go by the 10-second thing, okay? Because if the sun's ultraviolet rays are not harmful to the eyes at that time, you can actually do it for a little bit longer. Although I would recommend, if this is saying follow that protocol and you want to be on the safe side, you can't go wrong, follow that protocol. Now, people always say, I don't have time, I have to go to work, and, you know, I don't have time to work out because there's no time. Like, listen, man, if you can't control your time, you're out of control. Okay, because you're bound here by time, but you got to have control of your time that you're here. How do you manage your time? When you manage your time wisely, you're managing your energies wisely. Okay, because they say time is money, but money is the physical manifestation of energy. But also you need to learn how to manage your metaphysical energy as well. You know what I mean? If not, you're not in control. The same way you need to control your finances, you need to control, there's a balance. You need to control that other aspect also. You know what I mean? So if they're telling you, start with 10 seconds and you don't have 10 seconds, then there's really something fucking wrong with you. Okay. Now, check this out. Nikolai Dolgoruki of the Ukraine calls himself a sun eater. He has been practicing sun gazing for the past 12 years and largely subsisted off solar energy since he began. Others have reported losing the need for food after only 9 months of sun gazing, by which time the practitioner has worked up to a maximum of 44 minutes. After 9 months of practice, you need only walk barefoot on the earth for 45 minutes per day. Since 6 days in, a road to further the process of what has been initiated by sun gazing. Okay? Now, this is important. If you are in a dark room, okay, do you notice how when you come out and somebody opens the blinds, you're like, oh shit, you gotta like get used to the sunlight, like your eyes adjust to the light? See, this is what's happening through time. You can get used to the sunlight, because I'll stare at the sun midday and I don't have a problem, and my eyes are perfect. I don't wear glasses. I have perfect vision. Although sometimes the clearer you see here, the less you see. But that's another video. All right. Now check this out. Sun gazing is a practice also called the HRN phenomenon, coined such after Hira Ratnamanek, the man who submitted himself to NASA for scientific testing to confirm that he does indeed possess the almost superhuman ability of not eating, gained through his dedication to this interesting marvel. Funded by NASA, a team of medical doctors at the University of Pennsylvania observed Hira 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for 100 days. NASA confirmed that he was indeed able to survive largely on light, with occasionally a small amount of buttermilk or water during this time. Okay? Now, go figure if you were to replace this water with urine. How do you think you would be? You would be even more in a much more advanced state even than what's his name, Hira, okay, who was observed by NASA 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all right, for 100 days, okay? What happens to the body during sun gazing? During the first 3 months of practice, the sun's energy is moving through the eyes and charging the hypothalamus. Tracks says those who have studied this technique and used it, the hypothalamus tract is the pathway to the rear of the retina, which leads to the brain. The brain then over time becomes activated by energy supply being received by the sun. You will first experience a relief of mental tension and worry, since most worry is fueled by the energy received by the foods we eat. Okay, now this is what I was talking about in my previous videos when it comes to meat eating. Okay, you cannot kill energy, you can only transfer it, and you're putting that in your system in a physical form. And that's why I mentioned in other videos, when you're around negative people or toxic people, it affects your energetic aura. And this is just like being around it. You know what I mean? So imagine putting it in your mouth physically, but yet you cannot tell the difference if something's actually affecting you because you're so cluttered. Check out my videos on why I stopped eating meat, okay? Since food gets its energy from the sun, it is said to be readily available to sun eaters without the trouble of digesting. Now, here's a big thing. Digestion takes a lot of energy from the body to digest food that does not belong there. Not only that, but I've mentioned this in my meat videos, that your body also runs a subtle fever every time that you ingest meat, because it has to create heat, and to create heat, it has to form, first of all, whenever you have an infection or a virus, your body gets a fever, okay, to kill off any foreign infection or virus. And everybody runs a subtle fever because what's happening is that the food that's not metabolized is rotting in your colon. And this is why your body creates a subtle fever to try to get rid of this. You know what I mean? Yet it's creating too much energy for the body, and the body likes to take the path of least resistance. Okay? Now, though hunger is said to eventually cease, it is fine to continue eating regularly during initial stages until appetite disappears naturally. This is by far one of the most interesting things I'm reading. It's insane. Another benefit early on is said to be increase in confidence and an ability to easily solve your problems. As you are without tension, everyone has at least a bit of psychosis, but during the first few months of sun gazing practice, it is reported that these attitudes go away and positive nature gracefully replaces the old persona full of fears. By the end of 3 months, the gazing time will have increased to 15 minutes per day. All right? Reports on sun gazing says that the bad qualities normally associated with any person will gradually disappear and good qualities will remain. Explaining the bad qualities only develop in the absence of sunlight. Bad qualities like anger, fear, jealousy, and lust. You see, notice how everything is overly sexualized. But here's the thing though. Every time that you go and you feed into these addictive natures of, let's say, too much activity in sex, or let's say if you have a pornography issue, or like if you have a condition where you can't control what you're eating, okay? This is what they're talking about here. And now check this out. After that, it says, and be replaced by certain confidence and spiritual knowing that senses more purely the heart of an issue, okay? At 3 to 6 months of gazing, the studies show that physical diseases start to disappear. They say that by the time one is gazing 30 minutes per day, building up to 10 seconds per day, all the colors of the sun, okay? Now, we can only perceive a certain percentage of what the color spectrum is. So this is pretty interesting. Let me go through this part again, okay? They say that by the end of this time, after 30 gazing, okay, they say that by the time one is gazing 30 minutes per day, building up 10 seconds per day, all the colors of the sun will have reached the brain. Color therapists attribute their healing of certain diseases to flooding the body and brain with particular color that is lacking, depending on the ailment. For example, in liver disease, the color is green, is deficient. The color green is deficient. The kidneys need red and the heart yellow. All of the organs and all of the systems are said to respond to different colors of the rainbow, which is why it is also recommended to eat a diet rich in variety of colors. Now, what foods are normally rich in variety of colors? Raw fruits, leafy greens, okay? And I'm going to go as to why we're like reptiles, okay? Because I had iguanas in my life. It is recommended during 3 to 4 month period that you use autosuggestions to see your body already healed and perceived weakness or disease. Intent is everything. What is the intent of you doing this? That's like somebody fasting, and they're fasting to just lose weight, or just, to perceive, to try to impress other people. Or are you fasting to have a better spiritual connection with source? Or are you doing it for the detoxification aspects of it? You know what I mean? So intent is everything. Some people just do it because they just want to look good, but not having any intention on anything spiritual, or not having any intention on like detoxification purposes. Some bodybuilders might fast just to bring up their growth hormone levels, because it's said that it's actually scientifically proven to increase your growth hormone by like 2,000% when you fast, or intermittent fasting. So there's, this is like a pretty popular topic now because of this, you know what I mean? But intent is everything. See, a bodybuilder may be fasting because he wants to stay lean and ripped, where a typical person might actually do it for a different reason, maybe for detoxification purposes. And somebody who wants to really, the people who are in like that next level, they'll do it for all the above, but also to have a more spiritual connection with self, you know what I mean? Or get to source a lot easier, because don't forget, the more you eat, the more you anchor yourself to this 3D, the more you disconnect, from the urges that the body is like trying to satisfy itself on, you know what I mean? Now you go from suppressing the spirit to suppressing the beast. You get what I'm saying? And now you are riding the beast. The beast is under control. And now your consciousness goes into its spiritual nature. For example, like when you go and you come out of body, don't forget, your consciousness leaves the body, and your consciousness is now in a different state. It is coming out of body. You know what I mean? It is out of the body, disconnected from the body, but it is still connected by a silver cord. But that's another video. Okay. So as you continue the process, it is reported that after 6 months, the energy stored from the technique is no longer being used for repairing the body or the mind, and can now move into supporting you gaining more superhuman abilities. But what's beyond the healing? By 7.5 months of gazing, now at 35 minutes, needs and desire for food is dwindling. According to sun gazing experts, food is not actually needed to maintain the body, only energy, and the sun eating provides that energy. By 9 months, all the taste for food includes aroma, all hunger pains and cravings disappear. Those who make it this far say that they report a noticeable change in the way their brain feels, like it's charged up. After 9 months of sun gazing, reaching a maximum of 44 minutes, it is advised that you give up sun gazing and redirect your attention now to the earth. That shit is deep, man. That shit is deep. For 6 days straight, one is to walk barefoot on the earth 45 minutes per day. During this barefoot walking period, the pineal gland is said to become activated. Professional sun gazers and those researching the science that each toe is connected to specific glands, and by walking barefoot on the earth, you activate these glands. The big toe is thought to be aligned with the pineal gland. The second toe is the pituitary. Then the third one is the hypothalamus. Then the thalamus. And then finally, the pinky toe correlates with the amygdala. Walking barefoot with the sun now falling on the top of your head, practitioners claim to create a sort of magnetic field in and around your body that recharges you and your brain. Now, I made a video on the reflexology part. So in the middle of your foot, okay, when you could do reflexology and apply pressure to certain sections of your foot, and that actually activates and sends energy to the respective organ, which is actually co-governed by the chakras. Now, why is this important? Because when you activate and charge energy on the chakras, you're able to channel that energy more evenly up to the pineal gland, okay? Now, here's another thing. If you look at your spinal cord, okay, see, your spinal cord has cerebral spinal fluid that travel up and down the spine. Whenever you ejaculate too much, all right, that's cerebral spinal fluid. Instead of getting to the top of the brain, that's your essence. That is your anything that's liquid is your vibration, it's your soul. So you're literally expelling that out into nowhere. And a lot of people, here's the crazy part, they take a tissue and then they flush it down the toilet. Okay, there's something about this is a Chinese where you flushing the toilet, you should cover the lid because it's like that has something to do with the energies and whatnot. I'm gonna look into this because I forgot, but it just hit me as I'm talking right now. You know what I mean? And most of the time we actually even pee in toilets, and don't forget that your urine is actually your essence too, is your filtered blood, right? So we usually, you see, you should use your urine and put it in the soil because it actually acts as a good compost for the soil. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna make a separate video on that because if you're eating clean, your urine is actually alkaline. You know what I mean? And it's actually very good for compost to break down food scraps and mineralize the soil. If you're not gonna drink it, let's say, not all the time. You know what I mean? And I'll make a video on that. Okay. Apparently, this walking barefoot is the most important aspect of the practice. As you continue walking on the earth, this is when the magic really begins. The pineal gland is activated more and more by this walking procedure. Intellect is said to increase along with memory. Now, why does this happen? Is because you're doing a natural reflexology under your foot. You're activating the organs and chi. You see, I read this. I could have just linked it and had you read it, but I wanted to explain certain things that I was reading correlated to what I've been talking about in my other videos. The pineal gland has navigational and psychic capabilities, meaning telepathy. Now, this telepathy was turned off the moment that we, the moment we start ingesting food, okay, this is why this happens, but even beforehand, let's say even when you're in the womb, and I heard this from a video that Fire Drake did, and go check out his channel, Fire Drake 009. And the reason that this is very interesting is because I only looked at it as when we came out of the womb and they said the first words, but it literally even starts from when you're in the womb. You know what I mean? This is why it's important to have this knowledge and awareness. You know what I mean? Now, have you ever thought you would like to have your body in more than one place at a time? Well, sun gazing is said to be the magical key to such abilities. If you can walk barefoot, walk 45 minutes every day for a year, you are golden. At this point, only a maintenance of 3 to 4 days a week is necessary to maintain the capabilities you have acquired. You can take this time and literally, if you have to wake up earlier, do it. The same way I tell people, you have time to work out. You know what I mean? So this is and I'm gonna make a video on the life of a bodybuilder, which is fucking bullshit. But bodybuilders think they have to work out in the gym for like 2 to 3 hours to have a fucking a certain type of look, and that's nonsense. All it's doing is diminishing your testosterone. What they're running is on like fucking borrowed energy because they take pre-workouts and all that. But that's another video. I'm gonna make that in my next video actually. Are there any dangers? Doctors and eye care professionals caution against looking directly at the sun, saying it will damage the retina. However, if done correctly, sun gazing at the correct times of the day, studies show that there is no risk of damaging the eyes. Those who have been sun gazing for many years have had their eyes checked to show no damage, though it is advised that you have your eyes checked for the first few weeks of practice so you can know for yourself. To sum it all up, remember, it's 10 seconds the first day at the sunrise or sunset, adding 10 seconds per day each day after that. After 90 days, you accumulative gazing equaling 44 minutes. You cease the gazing and start the barefoot walking for 45 minutes per day, 6 days a week. At this point, I couldn't imagine, hey, if you made it this far, what's a year of barefoot walking an hour per day to keep it all? You will have to try it out and see for yourself. Fuck yeah, try it out and see for yourself. This is definitely something what the fuck do you have to lose? You know what I mean? If you are really interested in the gaining superhuman abilities confirmed by reputable organization like NASA, which, NASA, as the ones mentioned above, sun gazing sounds like a fairly straightforward path to enlightenment. To find out more about sun gazing and how others have done it, visit the website of sun gazing. So it'll give you a link right there. Now, that's all I have for this article. I'm going to put this link in the description below. And you can do further research on this, because don't forget, anything I talk about in my channel is like literally a guide for you to do your own research. And I'll tell you right now, this is super interesting. Aside from the video I'm gonna make on the bodybuilders, I'm also gonna put as to how we are like reptiles, because we do have a triune brain, reptilian, neomammalian, and the mammalian side of our brain. Everything in threes. Even the lower part of our body is your primitive. Then you have your human. And you have your higher self here. So you separate it in threes. You know how they got the religion, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. No, it's like mother, father, and then you have your child. And I learn a lot from my child. And that'll be a separate video, because I have a lot of interesting points that I have picked up when it comes to even observing my child. You know what I mean? And kids are in their most natural state. And there's a reason why they want to indoctrinate them at such a young age. You know what I mean? Because it's like you have a clean sheet, but instead it's a clean black dark slate. And what do? You could create all the different lights you want in that clean dark slate, especially since they're in their subconscious mind. The subconscious is always recording. You get what I'm saying? So if the subconscious is always recording, before they literally become conscious and aware, this is what they already have programmed in them. You know what I'm saying? And there's ways why, and I made a video as to why your spirit is asleep. Your spirit is asleep because your spirit is not resonating with what's going on. So go check out the video as to why your spirit is asleep. That's got a lot of interesting points as to, you know, how we are keeping ourselves anchored here and suppressing the spirit. If we actually learn how to wake up the spirit through these methods that I just went over and the methods in that video, now you're going to start to see a difference in how you even perceive and look at things. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, I mean, that's all I have right now. I don't want to make this video long, so I'm going to make a video on how we are like reptiles and why the foods are important. And I'm also going to go into the life of a bodybuilder, okay? We'll talk soon.